Would you agree that the one God, Yahweh, is a triune, self-conscious entity aware of its individuations?
Can you simplify your question, Liviano?
Yeah, no, it's okay. I'll dumb it down for you. Is there one singular being that has singular pronouns that's called Yahweh, and he's a Trinity?
Sure.
Okay, is that the same God speaking in Isaiah where he says, I alone created all things?
Yeah.
Is Jesus numerically identical to the triune God?
What do you mean numerically identical?
To say that Jesus is numerically identical to the triune God is just to say that Jesus just is the triune God. There's no distinction.
No, he's not numerically identical.
Okay, so he's not the same God who created all things, because the God who created all things is triune. Jesus is not triune. He's not.
No. Hold on. Let me
very much.
Hold on a second, because you just misplaced all my words here. You asked me, is Jesus numerically identical to the triune God?
Yeah, you said the one triune God. Jesus is not. He does not have property being tripersonal. Therefore, Jesus is not the same God who said, "I alone create all things."
But again, there you go mixing up.
I have a question, sir.
I was clear that he's not identical.
All right. Okay. So I'm gonna pause the time. So there was a back and forth. You said what you said, Avery. He said what he said. If there's a misunderstanding, then we go to the next question.
Jesus is Yahweh, who sits on high, who is exalted, and existed as Yahweh before all of creation.
If X is the true God, X is the true God if and only if it has the highest authority. Agree or disagree?
Can you stop using letters and just,
No, that's the argument, sir. For any X, if X is truly God, X must have the highest authority. Do you agree?
If X is truly, in what respect?
In every respect, truly God.
See, again, no. So again, you're conflating theology proper with economy. Let me just break down what this is. Theology proper is intra the Trinity.
Give me a second, real quick. I'm gonna pause the time because this isn't answering the question. So go ahead, Avery.
This is my response to what he's asking.
The question was, X is the true God if and only if it has the highest authority, or can X be truly God and not have the highest authority?
So, as I was saying, he's conflating theology proper with economy. So I'm just highlighting what he's conflating. So he's going to have to deal with the question. Theology.
Yeah, the question wasn't answered. We'll move on. Does Jesus get the divine prerogatives to his human nature? So when it says he was given authority, and he was given authority to judge, and he was given authority to give eternal life, is this given to the human nature or the divine nature?
What do you mean, is it given to the human nature?
The text says Jesus was given authority, correct?
Okay.
So the authority to give eternal life, is that given to the divine nature or the human nature?
It's given to the person.
Okay,
right,
so God in his divinity is given authority to grant eternal life.
Yeah, so you have the person, actually, the person of the Son, who's given authority from the Father to give eternal life. This is what you see, and let me just elaborate more. This highlights.
God is given authority to give eternal life.
Can I finish? The fake laughs doesn't help. You have to deal with the theology and refute what I'm saying, at least.
Sounds good. So God get authority. Does Yahweh have the essential power to generate another divine person?
The person of the Father, specifically.
Is that an essential property or hypostatic property?
What do you mean by hypostatic property?
Is it a personal property that's not essential to divinity, or is it essential to divinity that all of them have it?
This is, I would say then it is a hypostatic property of the Father that he generates the Son and the Spirit.
So it's not an essential property of divinity.
It's not as an essential. It's not an intrinsic property of the divine nature.
Right. So it's not an essential property of divinity, meaning you could be truly divine and not have this property, right?
We're talking about the hypostatic.
I asked you, can you be truly divine and not have this property?
You can be like for example, the Son is divine, yet he doesn't beget. He doesn't.
Okay,
beget.
so you could be truly divine and not have the property.
Yeah.
So the Father could be divine because he's just as divine. The Father could be divine, and it's possible that he doesn't have this property.
No, we're talking about specifically the operation. So, like for example, what you're confusing is theology proper and economy.
Can you define economically?
I'm sorry?
Define economically.
So I already did before. So again, when we're talking about the economy of Yahweh, we're talking about him. Justin Martyr literally argues that Jesus is the Lord of hosts. Is the Lord of hosts, is God before all creation. What are we talking about?
Justin Martyr is an ex-Platonist. He was a Platonist and he became a Christian. And so he says, God the Father can't come on earth. He's too great. So he has his logos, his faculty of reason, which comes forth from him as an intermediary being. That God, who's a lesser God, can interact with the prophets in the Old Testament. He could be seen on earth. He could take on a human nature, and so on and so forth. Justin Martyr, he says in chapter 5 in the dialogue, for God alone is unbegotten and incorruptible, and therefore he is God. All other things that are after him are created and corruptible. So only the unbegotten God is corruptible. Everything other than the unbegotten God is created and corruptible. Jesus is created and corruptible. And he confirms this, First Apology chapter 14, and follow the only unbegotten God through his Son. He makes a distinction between the unbegotten God and his Son. No church authority pre-Nicaea thought that Jesus is the Most High God. Justin Martyr, Theophilus, Tertullian, Novatian, Tatian, Irenaeus, Athenagoras, Origen, Eusebius, all of them were subordinationists.
I tried my best, guys.
In Luke, Jesus is called the Son of the Most High. Who's the Most High picking out here?
The Father.
The Father. Is there any instance where the word specifically the Most High applied to Jesus?
Yeah.
Where?
In Daniel 7.
In the New Testament, sir.
Well, Jesus refers to himself as the Son of Man.
I asked you, the words the Most High, do they
Yeah.
ever apply to Jesus in the New Testament?
Oh, well, yeah, again, he's the Son of Man who is identified as the Most High.
That's
in
not the
Daniel
question.
7.
I said the words the Most High, these words, do they ever appear for Jesus in the New Testament?
Again, I'm saying yes, he's the Son of Man who's
Sir,
identified
I
as the
asked you
Most
about
High.
the words the Most High.
He's
Okay,
the Son of Man who-
perfect. There isn't any.
Where Tertullian says that Jesus is an inferior substance of the Lord, that he's partial substance of the Father. And that's what I want to see. You said he said that. I want to see where Tertullian says he's partial substance of the Father. Now,
Ladies and gentlemen, against Hermogenes, chapter 3, let's read. There was, however, a time when neither sin existed nor the Son. But Avery said, Tertullian never said that. Let's read. Against Praxeas, chapter 9. For the Father is the entire substance, but the Son is a derivation of the whole.
I tried my best, guys. Try my best. Justin Martyr literally against Trypho argues that Jesus is the Lord of hosts. Is the Lord of hosts, is God before all creation. What are we talking about?
Justin Martyr is an ex-Platonist. He was a Platonist and he became a Christian. And so he says, God the Father can't come on earth. He's too great. So he has his logos, his faculty of reason, which comes forth from him as an intermediary being. That God, who's a lesser God, can interact with the prophets in the Old Testament. He could be seen on earth. He could take on a human nature, and so on and so forth. So Justin Martyr, he says in chapter 5 in the dialogue, for God alone is unbegotten and incorruptible, and therefore he is God. All other things that are after him are created and corruptible. So only the unbegotten God is corruptible. Everything other than the unbegotten God is created and corruptible. Jesus is created and corruptible.
I tried my best, guys. Try my best here.